Good morning, everyone. My name is Nick Hayward, founder of Prophesied Legacy Ministries and the visionary of Cornerstone Fellowship. As you know, we're studying a series of ordinary people while we talk through the text. I had a thought that I wanted to leave with you today. Never let your anger cause you to forget your assignment. As we talk about ordinary people, I'd like to bring another ordinary person to your attention. There's a disciple by the name of James. James, as we know, is the older brother of John. And so James and John are brothers, just like Peter and Andrew. They're both sets of brothers are fishermen, but there's a little bit of a difference when it comes to James and John. James and John were a little better off, shall we say. They had a little clout. We know this because they're the sons of Zebedee, and Zebedee was a person that had his own fisherman business, shall we say. And just some of the different accounts in the Bible let us know that James and John were a little better off than the others. But we talk about never letting your anger cause you to miss your assignment. James can be a little hot-headed, a little high-strung, kind of similar to Peter in some ways and aspects, but some scenarios that I'd like to bring to your attention. As the disciples are following Jesus and toward the end of his life, as they're heading back, they're on their journey and the time is coming for them to return to Jerusalem for the Passover feast, okay? So from their location, heading to Jerusalem, the most direct path would have been to go through Samaria. But most of the Jews did their best to avoid Samaria because they looked at Samaria as a place where they were a different people. They had their own religion and their own ways, and they just weren't accepted there. So they kind of would sort of veer off and take another path, which took them longer to get to Jerusalem, but kept them from going to Samaria. But because Jesus knew what he was called to do and what had to happen, rather than take the alternative route, Jesus decided to go straight through and go through Samaria. He was traveling with the large crowd, so he sent a few people ahead to find lodging for them in Samaria. But not to our surprise, the Samaritans didn't offer them any place to stay because they understood that they were heading to celebrate the Passover. And in the Samaritans' mind, like, why would we let you stay here when you don't believe like us and you could come here and celebrate Passover with us at the mount where we would celebrate such, celebrations? But that's not what could happen because that's not what was written in the scriptures, and the scriptures had to be fulfilled. So Jesus was like, we're going to take the path, and looks like they're not going to give us a place to stay. So when James heard this information, because James is a hothead, because James is zealous, because James is a little, I'm with Jesus, I'm feeling myself. So James sort of had what I'd like to call a temper tantrum. James turns to Jesus and says, like, Master, would you have us call down fire from heaven and consume them all? We all know James did not have the power to call down fire from heaven, but he was referring to what Elijah had done in the past. So what do we know while studying ordinary people that Jesus does when we kind of step out of line and miss the mark? Jesus pulled a Peter, as we should say, a Jesus to Peter situation. Jesus rebuked James, and he basically said to him, do you not realize the spirit of him who you're with? Have you not forgotten that the Son of Man didn't come to kill the people, but that the people might be saved? So he gave him a rebuke, like Luke 9, that's around between 54 and 56. So James was full of his zeal, and James was so over the top, and he was ready to just kill them all. They don't want to help the cause, kill them. But Jesus basically said, James, you're angry, you're zealous, but do not forget the assignment. The assignment is to save the people, not kill the people. So that's going on. We see that some parallels that we need to also remember. So years later, after all of this stuff has happened, We know that the bad beef, shall we say, between them and the Samaritans in the land of Samaria. Philip goes back to Samaria years later to preach the gospel, and guess what happened? Lots of Samaritans were saved. So let's just say Jesus would have let James operate in his own might on that day and say, oh, you want to call down fire and kill the people? Here's some fire, kill the people. But Jesus never forgot the assignment. Because Jesus never forgot the assignment, that is how he stayed on track. That is how he stayed focused. And that's what we need to learn to do. Never forget the assignment. Okay? So I ask you today, what is it in your life that can cause you to get off track and to lose your focus? But if there are things that cause you to get off track, cause you to lose your focus, never forget the assignment. Ordinary people. So join us as we talk through the text and we talk about ordinary people. We'd love to have you tune in and share with us. Thank you.